from the shores of beautiful Nassau, Bahamas. Welcome to Walking in Victory with Bishop Neil C. Ellis. The powerful and prophetic ministry of Bishop Neil C. Ellis is impacting the lives of believers all around the world. His bold and forthright presentation of spiritual truths and biblical principles is sure to change your life forever. Get ready to experience a fresh approach to ministry as this anointed author and pastor teaches us how to walk in victory.
Walking in victory.
Well, God bless you all today. This is Neil Ellis, and I want to welcome you to this very, very special edition of Walking in Victory. Several weeks ago now, the Bahamas faced the most dangerous hurricane that this region has ever witnessed and experienced one of the greatest tragedies this country has ever seen. The killer hurricane with history-making winds touched down on Abaco and Grand Bahama, with Dorian leaving behind major devastations on both islands. Nobody, no agency, no organization in our country was quite prepared for this. To date, 60 people are confirmed dead and hundreds are still missing. Those of you who are grieving the loss of loved ones and are still searching for missing relatives and friends, please know that you are in our thoughts and our prayers. To all of my affected brothers and sisters who feel like those around you or in leadership should or could do more, I feel you. But don't allow those thoughts to consume you. The rebuilding and restoration process is difficult enough without building anger and resentment against those who are seeking to help you. You've survived the crisis. Now you've got to do the best you can to survive the restoration process and what is quickly becoming your new normal. My brothers and sisters, what survivors experienced was real. Life for them has changed, and for some of them, tragically and permanently. Those who didn't experience this cannot fully understand what these people have been through. So let's be patient with them. And let's help in whatever way we can. And in helping, don't discriminate. Don't treat people based on their socioeconomic status or their political persuasion or social standing. At this point, let's try to meet everyone's basic needs. None of us who live for any reasonable length of time will go through this life without some kind of crisis. Life simply does not afford us that luxury. As a matter of fact, life is an interesting mixture of good times and bad times. Some days you're laughing, other days you're crying. Sometimes you're up, then you're down. Sometimes you have more than enough, sometimes you don't have enough. Some days there are days of victories, and other days are days of defeat. But through all the changing scenes of life, you've got to do all you can to find the strength and the faith to go on. Let's look to the scripture for a minute. And I want to draw your attention to the very first chapter of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1. And look at verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, who? God. What did God do? Create. And what did he create? Heaven and earth. And look at verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. In the original Hebrew, deep means chaos. God was not happy with what he created. There was chaos. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void and darkness. I mean, the earth was shapeless and dark. And the Spirit of God, look at what he did, moved. And where did he move? Upon the face of the waters. When the Spirit of God moved, that speaks of action. The Spirit of God in the midst of a crisis got busy. The Spirit of God did what he needed to do, and he jumped into action. Ladies and gentlemen, God is not just a God of order, but he's also the God of chaos. He is Lord of all. Now look at God's response. Verse number 3. And God said, let there be light. And what happened? And there was light. Verse 4. And God saw the light. Verse 9. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto the place, and let the dry appear. And it was so. Verse 10. And God saw that it was good. Verse 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed in itself upon the earth. And it was so. Verse 12. And God saw that it was good. Verse 14. And God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Verse 15. And it was so. Verse 18. And God saw that it was good. Now let's drop down to verse 24. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. Verse 25. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Ladies and gentlemen, God did not like what he created the first time. Guess what he did? He recreated. God recreated an entire world out of chaos. When he was finished recreating this world, look at verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Verse 27. So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And then the record is, my brothers and sisters, God breathed into man the breath of life. And when God did that, we not only became a living soul, but he also awakened the creative juices in us. God is a creator, and God is a sustainer. God is a creator, and God is a sustainer. God is a creator, and man was made in the image and likeness of God. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, if God is a creator and we were made in his image and his likeness, we have creative power. Look at Genesis 1, verses 1 and 2 again. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Crisis is supposed to give birth to creativity. We are never supposed to be satisfied and still when there's chaos. The government and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas have a tremendous opportunity to utilize our creative power. We have an opportunity to recreate, glory to God, Abaco and Grand Bahama. Not just restore, but recreate. There is creative power in us. I want to draw your attention to the 3rd chapter of Paul's letter to the church in Ephesus, Ephesians chapter 3, verse number 20. Listen to these words. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we may ask or think, watch it, according to the power that worketh in us. Hurricane Dorian have left many people feeling helpless and hopeless. But the truth of the matter is, my brothers and sisters, before Dorian, many people across the length and breadth of this country were experiencing their own hurricane. As they sought to deal with the vicissitudes of life, hurricane force hit them, and the cares of life knocked many to the ground. In recent times, they've not been happy with their personal set of circumstances. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're not, then recreate. If you're not happy with your life, if you're not happy with your personal development, if you're not happy with your own personality, don't get bitter in soul and broken in spirit. Recreate. Wherever you are in your life today, as I come to you in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, the one that hit Abaco and Grand Bahama, or the one that hit your life long before, here's my admonition to you. Don't scale down your dreams. Don't phase out your plans and desires that you have for your life. Don't cancel out your future. Don't underestimate your personal value. You have the strength to go on and the power to recreate. Don't just look at what you've lost. Pay close attention to what you have left. My brothers and sisters, across the length and breadth of this country, I say this one thing to you, that in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, for the very first time for a long time, I was left feeling that the spirit of brotherhood had returned to our country. We were becoming our brother's keeper once again. People not only from outside of our country, but people from the inside were looking out for one another. Just among my own membership, we've identified members in our church who've taken in people in their homes. In one particular case, 29 people in a 2-bedroom house. And you know what's significant? They survived. They made it for 2 weeks. 32 people in one house, 2-bedroom, and they survived it. If we learn nothing else from this hurricane, my brothers and sisters, let's remember that material things, they come and go. But the indomitable spirit of the Bahamian people is what we know lives on and on and on. So wherever you are, with whatever you've been going through, I'm saying to you, you have creative power. I want to say to the Prime Minister of our country and the members of the government and NEMA and all of those who are working in authoritative positions now in the aftermath of hurricane, as we try to restore Abaco and Grand Bahama, what a privilege it is we have to make Abaco, for example, a 21st century city. My goodness, if all we do is restore Abaco and replace what was there, it would be one of the greatest national tragedies ever. We have a marvelous opportunity to recreate. And that's what a national crisis is supposed to do. That's what chaos is supposed to bring. All of us have got to now look deep within and recognize, one, we have creative power, and two, the God we serve is able to do what? Exceedingly and abundantly and above and beyond everything you could think about or ask for. Whatever is the greatest thought that we can come up with in recreating Abaco and redeveloping Grand Bahama is a joke for God. As a matter of fact, our greatest thought is yet too small. I think he wants us to go to a whole new level. You know what would be another tragedy? For people outside of the Bahamas to outdo us who live here. Yes, they may be able to outgive us because of the numbers, but they shouldn't be able to outthink us or outcreate us. I believe God has placed within each of us creative and recreative abilities. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and he was not overly excited about what he did, because darkness covered the face of the deep. There was chaos. There was a crisis. And this eternal God did not panic. He simply recreated. And when he was finished recreating the heaven and the earth, he breathed into man the breath of life. And man became a living soul. But the clincher is, when he created man, he did it in his image, in his likeness. Consequently, the creative ability of God now lives on the inside of us. That creative ability is in the Most Honorable Prime Minister. That creative ability is in the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. It's in members of the cabinet. It's in those who lead NEMA and all of the other agencies. It's in every living, breathing Bahamian. And so, my brothers and sisters, this is no time to step back. This is no time to retreat. This is no time to panic, and we cannot let the crisis overwhelm us. This is the time for our creative juices to start flowing again. I believe the spirit of the Bahamian people will come alive. I am one who believes that we are far from finished. Abaco not only will be rebuilt, it must be rebuilt. But this time, there must be creativity. This is the technological age. We are people of sight and sound. We are people of industry. We must create and recreate Abaco to an island that, woo, everybody in the Bahamas would want to live on. And then Grand Bahama, which is the nation's second city. You have a glorious opportunity to not just resurface, not just to be revived, but Grand Bahama should be recreated. I pray that these words may help to inspire you today to let you know it's not over. But I can't let you go and without telling you that this is not really about Grand Bahama, and this is really not about Abaco. This is about recreating yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, your life, your future. This is a destiny-defining year, and God is about to do great and mighty things among us. And so lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, you everlasting doors, for the King of glory is about to come into your life. Who is the King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. So lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, the everlasting doors, for the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. I'm glad I know him for myself. May God bless you. May God keep you. May heaven smile upon you. And I rest in the loving and tender hands of our mighty God. Amen.
With
Bishop Neil C. Ellis's latest book, The In-Between, The Journey Between Your Dream and Your Destiny, is creating a lot of buzz. People from all walks of life are talking. Devon Franklin says The In-Between is a must-read for anyone in pursuit of their destiny and in need of encouragement along the way. TV host and pop culture expert John Murray says this insightful roadmap to achieving your best life will show you why Bishop Ellis has earned the distinction of being your favorite leader's favorite leader. International attorney Willie E. Gary says The In-Between is a literary masterpiece. Dr. Jamal H. Bryant says reading this book will invigorate you to push to the end. My Bishop has penned a prescription for people who are in between so that you breathe in the go-between. Dr. Carolyn Showell raves it's a revelatory resource that serves as a roadmap, showing us the way to next, leading you out of your stagnation and into perpetual movement in God. Dr. Kenneth C. Ulmer writes, Neil Ellis takes you on a journey filled with exhortations, instructions, and revelations on the value, the mandate, and significance of doing your assignment. Get your copy today and let's see what you have to say. Bishop Neil C. Ellis's The In-Between, The Journey Between Your Dream and Your Destiny. Now available at Amazon.com, Booksamillion.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or anywhere books are sold.
Troubles can make it seem like you can't reach your dreams, but know that you've been made free and you're walking in victory.
Bishop Neil C. Ellis and the Mount Tabor Church family in Nassau, Bahamas wish to thank you for viewing the Walking in Victory broadcast and invite you to tune in next week to experience this powerful prophetic ministry. Should you wish to correspond with Bishop Ellis, please write him at P.O. Box N9705, Nassau, Bahamas, or email him at info@neilellisministries.com.
Walking in victory.